Mike Jones here with Ken's. It's a brand new show. My brother Kenny and I own Ken's Stereo Junction, one in Macon and one in Warner Robins. We got about 25, 26 guys and gals with just genius minds to do what they do. We do custom installs, which you're gonna see. We do car stereo, which you're gonna see. We do churches, security, theaters. We do it all. If it's audio, video, security, and church worship, this is what we do. Let's get inside and check it all out. Okay, now in Macon and our Warner Robins location, you always do kind of a car, ATV, motorcycle part. And the idea behind this is we always talk about our specials. Well, the world has changed. Again, all these new head units start coming in. I'm so thankful to have inventory back in place. Now, in the world, you're gonna see CD players. We do a lot of CD players. We got back in the marine grade Sony AM/FM CD with Bluetooth, just a couple $100 here. We got back in the Alpine CD player, just $179 right now for this, is AM/FM CD. It does have a thumb drive input and an auxiliary, and it is detachable phase, 200 watt amp built into it. So this is what they call single DINs. In the double DIN world, which is like these size radios like this, we do Sony, we do some entry level Jensen Planet Audio, we do Alpine, we do Pioneer, but you have to understand, this new piece is an AM/FM. It has Android Auto and CarPlay. It has an EQ, which I really dig this EQ. A real equalizer. It has a 200 watt amp built into it, Android Auto and CarPlay, and it's just $299. Look at this mammoth. This just came in. This is JVC's new 10-inch. Yes, I said say 10-inch. Look at the brightness on this display. It is phenomenal. It does Android Auto and CarPlay, but it does it wirelessly. No cables. I'm doing that no cables attached thing. It has a 200 watt amp and an EQ built in, and I like that it has hard buttons for my volume. A lot of people say they don't want to have to go to the touchscreen every time they want to turn it up. So this is super nice. So when you get to come in, you kind of got an idea. Now this fits in a double DIN hole. So this size radio is all this needs to float on your dash. And so we're gonna have radios from anywhere from about $200 all the way up to about $1,500. Don't gasp, but that's the way that works. When you come in, we kind of have the whole shooting match. Now, you don't pay any labor unless we do a custom install for you. So do know that when you buy a radio or radio speakers amplifier, there's zero labor unless we do some custom work. Alpine Type R 6x9s have came back in. This is one of my favorite speakers made. I'm gonna do just a little demo with a little volume to it. This speaker is I'm telling you, will absolutely take a whipping. I own a pair of these in a 6.5 in one of my vehicles. And this polybutyl, it has a silk dome tweeter. They hold roughly 300 watts of power, but they're only $300 for the pair. Now, we've got speakers that that are $100 for a pair, Phoenix Gold, and they're amazing. So when you come in, just kind of have an idea what your budget is. Now, let's say you're saying, look, I don't have all this money to spend. My stimulus check's gone or whatever it may be, right? We have no credit check financing, and we have with credit check financing, and you say, well, what's the difference? I'm going to tell you. No credit check financing just drafts right out of your checking account. It has interest attached to it. With credit check financing, we have 90 days, 12 months, and 24 months, 0%. So if you buy a $1,200 car stereo, it's $100 a month. Does that make sense? So when you come in, depending on which one you qualify for, you can do the financing right here at the table, the Macon and the Warner Robins store, and we get you scheduled for the installation. The installation is something you have to know about. I have qualified installers doing your install at Macon and the Warner Robins location, and they float. So what that means is the installers go back and forth between stores. Why do we do that? So that way you always have you can always have the experience no matter what store you go to, and it's not just one installer. All the installers get the same experience in both stores. That's good for you from a knowledge standpoint. So right now you're seeing a cutaway of our inventory on the floor. We are loaded up with inventory. I'm so very thankful for that. So in the realm of that, you can come and buy. We can get you an installation set up, and we have it in stock, that's pretty hard to say based on the last year of our life. So free installation, Middle Georgia's only in-store service, competitive pricing always. This is what we do. All right, let me show you me versus this. That give you some idea how big this is. This is LG's new, what they call thin Q LED. It's 4K, it's smart, but look at the color on this thing. This is an 86-inch, that's right, I said 86-inch LED. I would say total thickness is maybe 1.5 to 2 inches. So yes, it can be hung on the wall. Of course, it comes with the base here. If you decide you want to hang it on the wall, it does take what they call an XL mount, which is an extra large mount because of what they call the VESA. That's how wide the bolts are. Goodness, look at this, look. Oh my gosh. Anyway, for $1,797, it's a $2,500 TV. This is a 2021 model. For $1,797, you get an 86-inch smart 4K. It's already Dolby Atmos ready. It's already Dolby ready. It says here also, listen, unlimited entertainment. Why does it say that? Well, that's because when you go into their barcode here, this gives you all of their stuff. It actually has Netflix and Prime Video and Disney and Hulu and Sling, all that built in. YouTube and YouTube TV even has, ready, Apple TV has become a very big thing called Apple Home is a part of this, and this all comes built into this piece as well. So LG has absolutely killed this. The quality of the picture is amazing. The glare is very little, which is a big deal when you have such a big panel, and the fact that it's $1,797 and we have 12 months no interest, and we have installation, and we have Middle Georgia's only in-store service, and this is what we do. All right, now in these a lot of houses, when they build houses, especially big houses, they always end up with some unfinished area, like a bonus room above the garage, which is what this is, or attic space that they ended up kind of using the attic space to make more room. The cool thing is when you kind of get the whole house decked out and you go, okay, now it's time for my my woman cave or man cave or whatever you want to call it, or just theater is what I always call it. So in this way, you'll call in your contractor to come in and do their thing. We are a part of that. We are the low voltage side of your contractor. And so this is exciting because this is kind of the pre. And so the idea is this window, we're going to fill this entire window in. This is going to be wall, be decor driven on the outside so it still looks appropriate from the street. We're going to fill this whole piece in. 85-inch 4K will end up right here, so 85-inch, but believe it or not, there is a 100-inch Sony that they just released this month. I'm thinking that they're going to say it's going to be around $20,000. Before you go, oh my gosh, 100-inch TV 2 years ago, $150,000. So there is some value there, but this will be the 85-inch. We're going to do flush mount speakers. So we'll have a flush mount speaker here. We're going to modify this piece to hold a flush mount speaker here for center channel. And then we'll have another speaker here, and a woofer will go here. We've already talked to the contractor. They're going to put power and all that stuff in the right locations. We're going to put surge protectors in all the right locations. So up here in the ceiling, in order for you to have more than 5 channels or 7 channels, we usually use the can lights as our guide. The idea behind that is go outside the center can lights, then go outside of the rear can lights, and that creates a Atmos or surround sound of Dolby Digital for the old school days. But fact is, surround sound now comes in 3.1, 5.1, 5.2, 7.2. You see where I'm going? 10.1, 11.2. So it is really it's whatever you can handle. But the minimum speakers to have an Atmos effect is 7. Now in here right now you just see a whole bunch of stuff. But the idea of this is we're going to put power in here, we're going to put a rack in here, and the cool thing about that is it'll be all nice and ventilated and surge protected. The idea of it going in here is we don't have all the lights out there, so you can make that room perfectly pitch black to make it a huge theater sound and not have all this stuff with all the lights flickering, and the remote controls that we use work through the walls. So that means that I don't have to have line of sight for it to work on my DirecTV or my Apple TV box or anything that has a remote control that programs into our remote, and our remote works even if there's a door right here, if that makes sense. So right now, this is a pre-stage. You're starting to pull all of our cables. But when it gets done, he's going to have a full Atmos surround sound, 85-inch 4K, full streaming abilities. We're going to extend Wi-Fi up into this room and full surge protection. So again, this is so important to do it like this. It saves you hundreds and hundreds of dollars to pre-wire your theater, and that is what we do. My phone number is going to come up right here. The estimates are free. I can come out and design the whole theater for you, and then here's what we're known for, is the service after the sale. Awesome. All right, when you do a Ford F-150, the subwoofer goes underneath the seat. So here is my subwoofer where I do 1 or 2 10s or 1 or 2 12s, but you still have to have a place to put the amp. A lot of folks will put the amps underneath the seat here, but the problem with that is a lot of times people's feet that get back here can put their feet on the cables and they always get broken and snapped and all stuff like that. If it's a really small hybrid amplifier, it can go there. But if you've got a big 1,000 watt amplifier, you got to think about that. So look at this. It's just a nice little clean install here. We basically build this amp rack to put your 1,000 watt amplifier. This piece by Zen Audio, that allows us to take a factory touchscreen like a Ford radio and make it sound like it should to be with such a nice amplifier. Now what your thoughts are is when you mount this, where do you mount it to? Well, we removed this piece and mount it underneath the brackets, the factory brackets, the steel brackets here. That way we don't have to penetrate the outside of the vehicle, and it's still safe. It doesn't move in case there's an accident. So this is just, I really just wanted to show you the details of this, because it's important to know that when this stuff goes in here, we don't all think we're gonna get into an accident, but it's nice to know this stuff is rock solid. That way if you ever did get into an accident, it stays put in place. Now that's number one. Number two, by stabilizing this amplifier, it doesn't have an option to short out or have distortion from a later time, as far as over time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years that you have your system. So end of the day, I just show you that detail to show you that this is what these technicians do. They really do think through this to make sure it's a long-term relationship with you and make sure that you get the most bang for your buck, but you get the best installation that you can. That's awesome. All right, now we carry the Samsung Art TV or the frame TVs. They come in 55, 65, all different types of sizes, but a lot of people don't, until you see it, you just don't understand how great it is. So this art is built into this is literal art. I'm not exaggerating that to you. And they have all different types of art built in. You can also go on the internet and buy as many as you want or put your own pictures. But look, when I turn on my cable box, it is a phenomenal 4K, super bright, very little glare television with all my smart features built in. So I've got all my smart features, Netflix, Prime, Disney Plus, YouTube, everything already built. You can add apps, and it's always adding apps and doing its updates for you anyway. But look, it mounts like a picture, literally like a picture. This is a picture frame. You can buy these in beige and white and black and all different colors and stuff like this. We're going to change this one out eventually too, depending on the decor that we end up with. But look how clean that we left the plastic on here, but it is such a clean look. Now it has sound that comes out from the space in between the wall and the TV. There are speakers that line up down here. And with this mantle, it does a pretty good job, but the idea is, because I didn't want to mount a TV over my mantle, I wanted a piece of art over my mantle, I can have a piece of art over my mantle, right? And it's not taken away from the decor of the room. I think that is just crazy nuts. What a great idea. So I do try to keep all of these in stock depending on size, but how clean is this install? And again, I want to go back to the television. Bada bing, bada bang, I have a good 4K TV when I bring the gang over. Now, in case you don't want this sound, we have clip shift speakers that we flushed into the ceiling. It just fit decor-wise with the way that AC vent is. Magnetic grills, they blend well because they're painted in that white color. And this is their reference series. It sounds amazing. So she can have the option to play music throughout the house. And because a lot of folks now were saying is, I want my music playing, but I want to keep up with the score. I want to keep up with the golf tournament. I want to keep up with what's going on. Or she can push a button on her phone, and these two will sync together. So now my television sound plays throughout my house, as well. If it's a big Georgia game or something, if you're not a Georgia guy, I'm sorry. But if you're a Georgia guy and you want to play the Georgia game throughout the house, this is the way to do it, or otherwise I can just keep up with the score. So keep in mind, I know I'm talking fast, I get super excited. This is the Art television frame TV by Samsung. I keep them making in my Warner Robins store, but let me come out to your house or come out to your office, because you may want to put one of these in your foyer and just have the art on until it's time for you to put a thumb drive in. Great idea to show what's coming up in your company and stuff like that. Really, really good idea. So I'll come out, my phone number comes up here, and do the estimate for free. And it just keeps it so nice and simple to know that I need to get my formal living room back, and I really want to have my formal living room so everybody can come over. So I come in here, and now my frame, and here's my art, and it's just fantastic. Okay, now the Bentley pontoons are extremely popular, and they come to us. We do a bunch of these, and the idea behind it is they come with super cheap stuff. And I don't mean that. Don't take it the wrong way if you're a Bentley owner and you haven't upgraded your sound yet. But in the realm of it, they usually come with a Jensen radio, and it's just 10% distortion in that radio, which means 10% of your music has distortion in it. Whereas when you put in like a Rockford Fosgate, like I'm gonna show you here, I'll just show you now, this is their PMX series. When you get into this is less than 1% distortion, and it's all weather. We still have the little plastic thing, because I know people like to kind of pull the plastic thing off when they get something new. But this gives us sub-control, mids and highs output. You can get them with an amplifier or wow. We put 2 amplifiers in the console of this because he just wanted a big, huge sound. Now, we did JL audio, as you see in the factory location. These are the M650s, so they're completely weatherproof, which means when you wash your boat, you can spray them down and all that. You can get these with or without lights, but the idea behind that is they're very efficient. What that means is it takes a little bit of power to make them really loud, but they still hold a whole lot of power. Right now, you're probably hearing a little bit of bass, especially if you have one of our subwoofers in your house. This is a Rockford Fosgate P3 sub that we weather treated by putting in a box down in here. This is completely weatherproof. We rhino line this all the way. It's all properly sealed. Quick disconnects in the case of service. And then we also use an insulated speaker wire. The idea behind that is now I've got bass, but I've only used literally because the P3 Robert Fosgate is a 1200 watt subwoofer, but it only uses about 1 cubic foot of airspace when you do it correctly in a sealed box. Now, we'll kind of get you back up a little bit. We also did M650s down here. So we got front and rear M650s. And the idea behind this is you want to have a lot of highs and you want to have bass, but you want to have an even amount of that, if that makes sense. So having 2 in the front and having 2 in the back and then a sub just gives you kind of that even feel that even if you're, well, we're not in the water right now, but if you're in the water, you can have that amount of sound that you need that's not irritating to other boaters, but you get to feel it when you're in your pontoon. Listen to the clarity. You can play it hard, loud, mid and highs are perfect. I'll be quiet for a second. Lots of bass. So right now as I'm going through, I've got plenty of sound. A lot of bass. Really nice. Now, a lot of times, we'll give you a little more juice. A lot of times when we do this, we recommend you letting us put in a second battery kit, which we do here. That is superb. I don't know if it comes through the way it needs to come through. So the idea behind this is you also get our backup on the service side. So let's say you do have an issue, right? If you have an issue, like I just recently had a gentleman that had an issue, a head unit that had gone bad, and he brought it, even though they didn't have them in stock, what did we do? We took his bad head unit on trade, let him trade in for a brand new head unit so he didn't have to wait anymore because that particular one wasn't in stock because of the pandemic and all that stuff. That's the idea behind buying from us with 43 years in business, is that I can make decisions that are not dependent on the manufacturer. Most of the time I don't rely on them. I can just put it right back in your hands so you're not without when it's 80 degrees of perfect weather and I want to be able to let my Bentley pontoon sound perfect. Listen, I say it all the time, awesome, awesome, awesome. This is what we do. All right, when you do an HD security camera, as we're going through this, I'm sure you're seeing just some cutaways of different camera views. Like we do neighborhood cameras and we do residential cameras and do commercial cameras, hospitals and all kinds of stuff like that. But when you have a residence that has like a plantation type of outlook and you need cameras to see tennis courts and everything, this is what it requires. So I'm gonna let you follow me here. And it takes you trenching anywhere from 4 to 8 inches into the ground. Of course, we do our own trenching and everything. And then you run what they call a burial type Siamese cable. This is a cable that's made to be in the ground, whether you put it in conduit or not. It's made to handle whatever's going on weather-wise and the fact it's gonna be in the ground for the next 10 years. So if you'll follow me through here, we have to be able to go all the way to the back of the property. The idea behind that, again, look at this trench. You're talking about 225 feet of trench, because guess what? There's no post out there. And this particular family said, look, you know, we don't want a bunch of metal posts sticking up in our house. So we literally run conduit up and through the trees, and we put the cameras up in the trees, right? And we already got cameras on the house seeing the perimeter. But when you have property like this, I mean, from there, you can't see what's going on. You see the bad guys out here doing vandalizing or whatever the bad guys do. And so we did these trenchings. We dig everything in the ground. Sometimes we do with, sometimes without conduit, depending on what's in the ground. This was really hard. Lots of roots, a lot of stuff that you have to tear through. This takes a lot of time. You're talking anywhere from 6 to 10 hours just to trench. So as you see, we have all these lines. Now, what you're probably thinking is, don't tear my yard. We don't do it. We put it all right back together, and this is usually before landscaping work comes through, or during landscaping come through, or it could be a part where, hey, we know it's gonna go back together, and then we're gonna come and kind of let the landscapers do what landscapers do. So cameras will be hanging from the corners. You'll be able to see tennis courts, the house, perimeter, you know, maybe 15 or 16 cameras to see an area this big. Now, there's a recorder that records 24 hours a day. This is why you bring, my number is gonna come up right here. This is why you let me come out and look at your home or your business, because you get there and you realize, you know, 4 cameras ain't gonna do the job, or 6 cameras ain't gonna do the job, or maybe 3 cameras does the job, or maybe it takes 14 or 15 cameras because you have so much invested of your own money to make that happen. So the reason I tell you that is we only carry full HD cameras. I'm going to show you, seen a cutaway of one right now. The idea behind that is it can come in 2, 3, or 5 megapixel cameras. The idea behind that is I want to be able to see in the nighttime. We now see a camera we have a camera that we carry that sees in color at nighttime. Used to it do black and white only. Now it sees in full color. So if I'm wearing this shirt, gray shirt, or a red shirt, you can see that. So the idea behind that is it records 24/7 all the time. And when there is an instant, like just recently, and I didn't get permission to talk about it then, but I just went to a business that had some theft. I got to download the footage. They got to prosecute. It was instantaneous. Put it on a thumb drive, hand it to the police officers. We warranty for 2 years right out of the box. It's kind of good to know that. So if you flip back around here, you see all this is happening. This right here is kind of like before the magic happens, if you want to say it that way. When we get done, they're going to be safe and secure. This is what we do. All right, Second Baptist Church in Warner Robins, Georgia, big church. This is their children's youth sanctuary. This is the children's church. And let me tell you, we did this a long time ago, and I'm sure you're seeing some cutaways right now of what it took. This entire wall was not built by us. They have their own carpenter that built this and their booth. He's amazing. But behind this wall was a screen that we put up I want to say like 12 or 15 years ago. It was all types of housings and stuff out there because they had to pull some stuff apart. It's pretty cool when you come in a decade later and you still see some of the old school technology. So they built this wall as an accent wall, and then we came in and put in a fixed frame. This is what they call a 1.5 gain, which means it works in fluorescent lights, which it has to be. And this is going to be a 165-inch image. Now the idea is when you have this kind of lighting, and they have some old school lighting as well, you have to have an extremely bright projector. This is Sony's laser projector. It's 5,000 lumens. They are amazing. I've been talking about laser projectors with you guys for at least the last 2 years, but they are just become perfection, and the pricing is amazing. Anywhere from $2,000 to $12,000. Don't get all weird on me. They just make a bunch of different models. But this had VGA, and we had a whole bunch of cables on sheets. Seen a cutaway now because all the equipment used to be up in this crow's nest up here, and they wanted to have more controls. Right now, you're probably seeing a cutaway of the booth. It's a full digital mixer. The idea behind a digital mixer is, especially like the one you're seeing right now, it allows me to control it from my iPad or control from my phone. It also allows me to lock in the tune. The cool thing about that is, and we're going to go to a sound demo in just a second, is when I lock the tune is whoever gets in there and messes with it, which everybody in the church does, then you can hit a button and everything goes back to where it was. It's very good. Now, let me just flip over to the sound demo to give you an idea how perfect. This is really just perfect. Perfect picture, perfect sound. Here we go. You're a good, good father. It's who you are. It's who you wow. It's who you are. It's who I am. It's who I am. It's who I am. And that sounds absolutely amazing. The picture's perfect. What a great worship setup. Wow, and it's a good thing for you to know is when you do this, it's so good that we can come out and literally, I come to you, see my phone number come up here, I literally come to you and design the system. A children's church with an A-frame that has a lot of ways for things to echo is a very different sound system than a church that holds 650 like St. Mark in Atlanta that we're finishing now, versus a church like my own church that holds like 100. And so we have to come in, and it's not one set system that works in every church. It changes to power, it changes by speakers, it changes by size of screen, it changes by technology of the projector, the computer. There's just so much that goes into this. The best thing about it is we're a turnkey. What that means is if you don't have an amazing carpenter like Second Baptist, we do have our own carpenter, we have our own painters, our own everything, and we can come in and do all of this for you. We do all of the audio, video, we do lighting, we do robotic, PTZ streaming. HD streaming is a part of life now. You know what that's all about. And the idea behind that is we're the full meal deal because we service it after the installation, and that's the most important part. That's why we do work in Atlanta, and that's why we work in Savannah, and that's why we've done churches in Florida, and that's not me. I'm not doing anything but just letting you know that we are very thankful to work, but this is who we are. So again, my phone number comes up here, and the idea is when you can put it all in the right way, you got PV speakers, you got a digital mixer, you got a laser projector, a big 165-inch image, a way to plug in microphones, a way to have a Bible study, a way to have worship. Folks, this is what we do. We are thankful to work. Let us come out, do an estimate for you. You will love it, love it, love it. Awesome. All right, thank you so much for watching our show. I'm really thankful that you take this 30 minutes to kind of see all the neat things that you folks employ us to do. I want to remind you who we are. We are a family-owned company. We got 4 of our family members that are deep into the business, and then we've got about 22 other guys and gals that kind of do what they do for our business. But I put that to say, all of these folks are in the service. We have a server's heart is what that means. So we have a service department, and that service department was created in 1978, so we are 42 years old or 42 plus years old. And that service department is all about servicing products that we sell and products that we don't sell. And we have our own full-time technician, and we have a service manager named Kurt. He's also in our family as well. And the idea behind that is, you know, if you have an issue with it, and it'll go through our service department, we can repair it. So many times people will have this disposable mindset. I'll just buy another one, I'll just buy another one, and they could have fixed it for 125 bucks or 225 bucks. And it just makes sense to think about the service side of who we are. Now, with service, what that comes with is we have installers. What that means is we go to your home and we do the installation. So when we come to your house, we have installers that take it. They're certified. They're low voltage certified for the state of Georgia, which is super nice. And they're also what they call CEDIA certified. Our car stereo guys are what they call MECP certified, which is a mobile electronics certification program that teaches them all the ins and outs, because guess what? There's a bunch of cars out there and so much technology out there. They have to have an education to be able to get in there and make sure that you have a proper experience. Speaking of experience, we have this whole social media world that if you have a bad experience, everybody goes and starts doing all the crazy stuff. And I tell you that if you'll give us a shot, I'm not going to say we always get it right, we're going to make mistakes, but if you give us a shot, this phone number right here is my brother's and mine. And the idea is you can call us, we're the owners of the company, and say, you know, this is what happened. And you know, and listen, 99% of the time, I'll hammer it down and get it fixed up no matter what it is. And listen, the reason I say that to you is I just want an opportunity if we make a mistake. Now, for the majority of the time of 42 plus years, we don't hardly make a ton of mistakes. That was a mistake of my own. But the idea behind that is that I'm invested to make sure your experience is good. I understand it's your hard-earned dollars that come to us to let us to work for you. Now, we have a brick and mortar store, so you can come in if you're one of those DIYs, do-it-yourselfers. You can come in and we have all the parts to buy and you can do all the work yourself, but we'll still give you service after the sale to help you get through the install of whatever you are working on. Social media is right here. You can follow us on Facebook or on our Instagram and our YouTube channel. And this just kind of is where we're constantly updating videos and stuff. And it kind of gives you ideas what's going on. So please be a part of this with us. And if you've had a good experience, please share that on social media. And if you, like I said, on the bad experience, just give me a shot. And then we can share that and see what's going on with that as well. Now, I want you to know we are hiring. I put that out there. We are hiring installers. We have been very blessed with a lot of work. And I need more people to come in and work. If you don't know anything about our business, that's perfectly fine. We would love to teach you. And it's a full-time position, 40 plus hours a week, and that is in the install side, so car and home installers. I also am hiring on the reception side. So if you'll come into our Macon location and fill out an application, you and I will do an interview, and we'd love to have you in the Ken's family. I'm going to leave you with this. In Psalm 51, it says, create in me a pure heart. A heart of steadfast love is what it says. And what he's saying is, in Psalm, as David is writing this, is that sometimes I slip up and I'm not so pure in my thoughts and in my heart. Sometimes I slip up and maybe I'm not as steadfast or solid in my love for others as I should have. And I put that out to say is, everybody's going to make some mistakes, okay, folks? Okay? Lighten up. Pray for others because others are praying for you. If you're not a believer, just know that the best thing you can do is tell God how you feel. If you don't like what he's doing, give it to him. If you like what he's doing, I love you. Praise him. The idea is to let God be a part of every ounce of who you are. And I'm going to leave you with this. God loves you. Come see us at Ken's in Macon in Warner Robins. This is Austin. He is learning how to use the radio. He's touching buttons. Look at him. Look at him. Boy, he's like a tiger. He's moving through this thing so fast. You can do it. Video, security, and church worship. Oh. And then there's the 18-wheeler. Not been one here the whole day. There you go. Me and you are so good together. Partnership. Cody, you looking awful tall today.
Thank you. It's